Welcome to Always in Escrow. This is Serena Appel, and I'd like to welcome Colby Burchin, my co-host. Hello, Colby.
Hey, Serena, how are you?
I am fantastic. I'm feeling very healthful today, and that is because we are speaking with Jeff Levine, the co-founder of Raw Juice, the hottest cold-pressed raw juice bar in South Florida. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
It's great to be here. Thank you guys for having me. I love the big smiles that everyone's got today, putting me in a good mood.
I'm super excited, Serena. First of all, I know, Serena, you have a story back in the day that kind of like leads up to this whole podcast especially with Jeff. So tell our audience about it.
I have a deep love of juicing, Jeff, and that I'd like to share with you and the audience. Yes, I happen to have brought my own juicer with me to college, to my college dorm.
Wow.
So I was already juicing in high school, and then I brought with me my own juicer. I knew the benefits. I knew how great it made me feel.
Was that last year?
Yeah, it was just a year ago. And I had it in my dorm. I kept it in my dorm. I would have to wash it out. It was pretty tedious, but I kept up juicing for many years. And because of you, I'm really inspired to bring it back. And I can't wait to jump right in and talk about all of the innovation that you're up to and how we can bring this to all of our listeners.
Fantastic.
So, Jeff, I'm going to just start. Tell us about the origins of Raw Juice. How did it all start? What inspired you to start a health, focused business like Raw Juice?
So great question, Colby. So I've been in the restaurant business for about 35 years. I started right out of college in New York City. I opened my first restaurant in 1990, a place called Brother Jimmy's Barbecue, which is a pretty well-known bar restaurant in New York City. And I kind of started a few other concepts and worked my way down south to Boca Raton. And I've been here for 23 years. And prior to Raw Juice, I had a chain of healthy salad restaurants called Salad Creations, which we had franchised and been to over 70 locations worldwide, and was running that business for a bunch of years. And a neighbor of mine, I lived down in a place called Woodfield. A neighbor of mine who was a very healthy guy that used to walk the loop every day. There's a big loop, like a 3-mile loop here at Woodfield. And he used to walk the loop every day for hours. He was a semi-retired Wall Street guy, and he'd be on the phone, trading stocks or doing whatever he was doing, just walk. He was telling me that he had thyroid cancer and he was undergoing, traditional treatment, and he really was just miserable and didn't feel good and very lethargic and didn't want to walk, et cetera. And he, as I got to know him, he had met a holistic health coach that, and listen, his name was Barry. He said, "Listen, Barry, you need to try a completely new diet. Let me put you on a new diet for 30 days and see how you feel in 30 days. And the diet she put him on was a organic cold pressed juicing diet and fruits and vegetables. That's all he ate for 30 days. He went out and bought a Norwalk juice presser, which is at the time was like $2,500. It's like a big juicer that made a ton of mess. And he'd go to Whole Foods and buy all organic produce, and he didn't care what it tasted like. He would just buy like the greenest stuff and sit there and just juice it in his kitchen, and he would drink it. And 30 days later, he felt like a different person. And he went to his doctor, and his doctor took his blood and said, "Look, whatever you're doing, keep doing," because his blood work was getting better. He was getting energy. He started walking again, and it changed his life. And he completely credited his beating cancer with the fact that he changed his diet to an organic cold pressed juicing and fruits and vegetables diet. So now he comes to me because I'm in the restaurant business, and he says, "We need to do something with this cold pressed juicing." He's like, this is the most amazing stuff in the world. And I didn't really know anything about organic foods at the time, or anything about cold pressed juicing, other than when I'd go to his house, because he would tell me to come over, and I'd see him with the juicer and making a mess everywhere. And he'd hand me a green juice and say, "Try this." And I'd smell it. And I'm like, I'm not trying this. This smells so nasty. Like, I can't even drink this. He's like, no, you don't understand. It's not the way it tastes. It's the way it makes you feel. And he had like veins popping out of his neck and his head. And he was like so passionate about it. And I'm like, Barry, you don't understand. I'm like, it's not about necessarily about the way it makes you feel. I go, it's got to taste great for people to buy it. I said, and I got no interest in trying to sell something that tastes horrendous. So that was kind of our conversations in my first introduction to cold pressed juicing. And I kind of brushed it aside, whatever. I was busy running my salad creations concept. And I kept running into Barry at different events, whether it be basketball, because we had kids that played basketball. I'd see him at the basketball gym or in the neighborhood, or he'd just show up at my house with like a juice. And this went on for like a year and a half. And I just still didn't really get it, to be honest with you. And then one day I read an article about Starbucks bought a company in Seattle, Washington called Evolution Fresh for like $25 million. They had one location and they had like some distribution in Whole Foods. When I read that article, I was like, well, Starbucks is a pretty smart group of guys. Why are they buying this one location, cold pressed juice bar for $25 million? So I got on a plane, went out to Seattle, and I sat inside Evolution Fresh for 2 days. And what I saw just blew me away. I saw people walking in, getting 3-4 juices at a time. At the time, it was like $10-11 a juice. And I'm saying, wow, these people are spending $40-50. I'm selling salads at, $10 a salad, and I'm selling one salad per person. And basically I'm selling salads from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock at lunchtime. And this place was just steady from 8 in the morning till, 6 at night. And the other thing I did was I sat there and I would ask people as they walked in, I said, why do you come here? And they would say, oh, I had cancer and this made me feel better, or I have, heart issues, or I don't feel well, whatever it was. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, this is crazy. Like, why should people have to wait until they don't feel well or they're sick to put things in their body that are obviously making them feel better, that are good for you? And I came back to Florida and I sat down with Barry and I said, Barry, I understand it now. I said, I can do this. I can do it better than they're doing it. I can make the product taste great. I said, you got to let me handle what I handle, which is the branding and the location and creating the product. I said, and your story's amazing. You'll be, kind of the face of the brand. And hence so he started his journey in 2009 with his diagnosis, and we opened the first location in Boca off of Glades Road in October of 2013. And it's a small space, about 1,200 square feet. And we had put a budget together and said, if we could do like $800,000 in revenue, we have something that we could grow, that could be really good here. And the first year we were open, we did about $2.2 million in business. And the next year we did like $2.6 million. And we just knew we were on to something. There was unbelievable demand for the product that we had created. So I ended up selling the salad business so that we could focus on growing this company. And we opened we did, for the first 3 years, we just focused on the first store and learning the business, because it really was a unique and different kind of restaurant business. We were pressing our own juice, everything. We were 100% organic, which created some really interesting challenges, especially in the beginning. And it just, we wanted to learn it before we grew it. So we just took 2.5 years to learn it. And then we opened 2 more stores in the third year and towards the end of the third year. And we wanted to get proof of concept. We didn't know if it was a fluke, the fact that we opened one and did great. We opened a store up in PGA and a store in East Boca, and both, just hit it out of the park. And at that point, we kind of knew we had something special.
Boom. I'm so inspired. Sounds delicious. It's an amazing success story.
We're very lucky. I think part of it was being in the right place at the right time. People were changing their eating habits. I think it was a very underserved market here in South Florida. There was only as we opened, there was only like one other cold pressed juice bar in Miami. There was nothing up this way, and people just ate it up, literally.
I remember that because I spent a lot of time, growing up, and I was seeking out healthful options. When I would go down to South Florida, and even in New York City, it would be like one juice place to go to, and you'd have to go to the back of a health food store and order it. And now, oh, the landscape has definitely
It
changed.
has changed a lot.
You're definitely at the front line. So how do you source your ingredients and ensure they're high quality? And will you walk us through your menu and some of the most popular items?
So sure, let's talk about sourcing, because that's a real interesting story. So again, coming from the traditional restaurant business, sourcing was never really an issue, right? We sold chicken wings at Lulu's Bait Shack, we were able to make a contract with Tyson's for X amount of chicken wings. We locked in our price for the year, and we knew we were going to get delivered, that amount of chicken wings for the year and at that price. So when we first opened Raw Juice, one of the biggest challenges we had was, because we were 100% organic, we would not bend on that. We would order, I'm just going to give an example, 200 pounds of gala apples, organic gala apples, to be delivered on, we'd order it Monday to be delivered on Wednesday. And on Wednesday, the guy would show up with 50 pounds of organic gala apples, and the price went up 30% from what he had told us it was going to be. And we said, hey, where's the other 50 pounds? And why does the price change? And he'd say, this is all I could get you, take it or leave it. I got 10 other guys that'll take them off your hands if you don't want them. It just created like a huge issue for us, because we needed 100 pounds to be able to juice the amount of juice that we needed to make, that based on what we were selling. So pretty quickly on, we knew there was like an issue there. So we said, if we're going to grow this business, we've got to be able to control the supply chain of the organic fruits and vegetables. So we had a vendor who had a small organic distribution company, and he got into the organic business here in South Florida. And we were buying stuff from him, and he'd always come in with like a little better pricing than what they would call the bigger guys back then. But there really were no bigger guys. Anyway, we ended up making a deal with him where we bought his company so that we could control distribution, because he had 10 clients, let's say, that he was distributing to. And we said, you know what, if we can basically take all the product that he's delivering to those 10 clients and sell it to ourselves, we're better off. At least we can control the quality, the quantity, the pricing, et cetera. And that company was called Fresh Harvest Organics. We still own it to this day. We bought it, probably like 8 years ago. And it's been clearly a differentiator for us as we've grown to 13 locations now. If we did not have control over the produce and the vegetables and everything that we're buying organically, our food costs would have been way higher than it is, and we wouldn't be able to have the supply that we have for our guests and be able to provide them with the juices and everything that we do. So it's been a definitely game changer and differentiator for us.
Fantastic. And so can you walk us through the menu, some highlights, and what are people drinking? What's the most popular?
That's great. So when we started and we came up with the name Raw Juice, we thought that we were definitely going to be predominantly selling cold pressed juices. We launched originally with like 24 different juices, 16-ounce juices. And when we started, we were selling, at the time, I don't remember 100% accurate, but let's say 50% of our sales or 60% of our sales was cold pressed juice. And then maybe less than 10% of our sales were acai bowls, and maybe 10 or 15% were smoothies. And then we did some like oatmeals and some desserts and some salads and stuff like that made up the difference. As the brand and the guest has evolved, the bowl business, I call it the bowl business, not necessarily the acai bowls. When we first started, it was just acai bowls, but we've expanded. What we saw happening pretty quickly was that our bowl business was going like this, and our juice business was kind of flatlining. So I think the consumer's demand was there for the bowls, and the growth was there way more so for the bowls than it was for the juices. I think the juices, as amazing as they are, it's somewhat limited on who's going to drink a juice, whereas my 18-year-old child is going to come to Raw Juice and get a bowl, 4 or 5 days a week. They might not come get juices 4 or 5 days a week.
Yep. That's my 10-year-old. My 10-year-old's getting bowls.
Right. And my wife will go and get juice 7 days a week, but she's never going to eat an acai bowl. So,
right.
But what we saw was the demand for the bowls was clearly outweighing the demand for the juices. So over the years, our menu has really shifted from 23, 24, 25 different juices to maybe 14 juices. And our bowls have gone from 5 bowls to, we had probably 15 bowls up until very recently, and I know one of the things that I want to talk about is menu innovation. And we have just launched literally like a week ago, 20 new bowls. We added, which is big for us because we had, like I said, maybe 15 bowls on our menu. So now we have 20 new bowls plus all the existing bowls. So we've kind of positioned ourselves as like the leader in the bowl space. And there's a lot more competition today in the bowl space than there was years ago. But we just introduced 5 new flavors of bases of bowls. So we're kind of the colors of the rainbow. So we're doing, a blue bowl, a green bowl, a mango, orange mango bowl, et cetera. So it's really created some fun, cool things that people can come now and pick their base of 1 of 5 different bases, and then all these different toppings that we put on them, blueberries, strawberries, and again, everything's organic. So,
oh, that sounds so refreshing. Oh my goodness. So what about, okay, so you have all these bowls in every color. And, I've also seen some interesting ingredients pop up like pitaya. I don't know if you have that on
we
your
do.
menu.
That's our purple bowl. We have pitaya bowls.
And pitaya is dragon fruit. Is that correct?
Correct.
For everybody out there?
Yes.
And mango bowl sounds so interesting. I mean, it just sounds so satisfying. And wow.
My favorite is the blue bowl. We actually use like coconut, and then we take blue magic, which turns the bowl blue, and it's amazing.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that. I was thinking you were going to say blueberries, but it's actually blue magic.
Right.
And that in itself has incredible health benefits.
Right.
Wow, so satisfying. I mean, I have a bowl queen over here. My daughter is loving it, and we mix up bowls at home, and she has like her own coconut shaped bowls and wooden spoons, and it's a moment. It's an experience. But when we can't make it at home, we're coming to you. We're going to try the rainbow.
Our we actually came out with really cool shirts for the launch of the new bowls. It says, "We pack big bowls."
I want one of those. So how do you stay ahead of like the latest health and wellness trends?
So again, one of the things we did early on, just because of my background, is we brought on a holistic chef, a chef that is incredible and the magic she can work with organic fruits and vegetables, the way she can make things taste is just incredible. So her job, she works for us pretty much full time. She's based in Orlando. She's incredible. Her job is to make sure that we're staying ahead of the trends. And literally constantly every 3 months we meet and she comes up with all new creations, different types of, whether it be bowls, desserts, juices, new ingredients, new products. We work really hard on staying ahead of the trends and making sure that we're relevant and that our product is better and different than all of our competitors.
And you find that your team is passionate about all the products and, their drink.
So that's something that's really important to us when we hire, team members. They've got to be passionate. They have to live the lifestyle. They've got to be passionate. They've got to be athletic. They've got to be all the things that would be somebody, aspirational. Someone walks in there, they should look at the person behind the counter and say, I want to look like them. They're obviously eating and drinking this product. I want to be like them, right? So that's something that's really, really important to us. And also, I think it was one of the things that saved us, during COVID when it got extremely hard to find people. And a lot of restaurants went out of business because they couldn't source the people to work. We still had lines of people waiting to come work for us. The younger generation, it's really important for them to work for a company that they stand behind. And, that's why, we've been very fortunate because our team members all stand behind what we do.
And how do you incorporate sustainability and environmental consciousness into your business practices?
Yes, it's always been something that's been important to us from the beginning. So for instance, we use pulp bowls for our acai bowls. We use all of our silverware it's not plastic anymore. When we first started, it was plastic because we couldn't source. But all of our silverware is made out of bamboo, right? So it's all recyclable. Everything we do is like, we will not put it in the store if it's not something that's good for the environment.
Great. That's so innovative too, to source bamboo and,
And
those
when we
materials.
first started, that didn't even exist. I mean, like, we were trying to source it from the beginning. We couldn't even find it. And then, as the markets evolved, now that stuff is readily available. A little more expensive, but for us, we believe it's worth it.
So can you tell us, speak about the importance of community involvement and how Raw Juice gives back to the community?
So again, another way that we've built our business is through community involvement. We believe that our community, our neighbors, are of the utmost importance. We want to be a steward of the community. So there's not a 5K or any event that we would ever say no to. When people come and ask us, hey, they'll typically say, hey, will you donate money to our 5K? What we say is, we don't, because we do so much, we don't donate money. But what we will do is donate product. Team members will be there. We're happy to sample juice, give juice out, help work the event. So it's definitely really important for us to be involved in our neighborhoods and our community, and to support all of the schools. We do a big program every year called Back to School. When school kicks off, we give away it used to be a free acai. When we started, it was a free acai bowl to every student at the time, it was probably like 30 or 40 schools. I think we gave away, pre-COVID, I think we gave away about 15,000 acai bowls that year. Then COVID hit. We stopped doing it for 2 years, and now we're doing it again. So we're just try to give back to the community. We want to get school-aged, high school, middle school kids experienced in eating healthy. So we'll give them something, free product to get them in, and try to educate them on why eating healthy is better for them.
Yes. Oh, it's such a great message, and I'm so inspired. Thank you so much for coming on our show. Okay, so how can all of our listeners kind of tune in, get connected, and know where to find you?
So you can certainly follow us on all of our social media, Instagram, Raw Juice, our website's rawjuice.com. Just follow us, get involved. You can see on social media where all of our locations are. We're very big with third-party delivery systems, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Delivery Dudes, all of those services we use. So if you're stuck in your house and working, like I know Colby does a lot, you can certainly order in the food and enjoy it, and reach out and let us know what you think.